The following is a Podbeard production.
EST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, opinions, and more. This is The Hotter Show.
What is up, everybody? We are on audio here today on episode 238 of The Hotter Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I have a kick-ass episode for you here today, as I try to every single week here on The Hotter Show, as we dive into the very best tracks from 2019 from bands either that I featured on the show in music reviews or music showcases, or from bands I interviewed, or a band that was somewhat associated with the show in some way, and the best music that they had to offer and that I covered in 2019. Now, this is going to be a doozy of an episode because I have over 10 tracks to play for you guys here today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do what I used to do on the review shows. So it's a little different from the music showcases where I just play it all the way through. I'm going to tell you guys the band, the name of the track, and the album. And then I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I like the song and the album, play you the track, and then we're going to move on. We have, I think it's actually 13 in total to get through. And man, let me tell you, this year was absolutely stellar for music. So there was no shortage of bangers. I got stuff ranging from straight up kind of punk rock to full on deathcore to kind of jazzy rock stuff and everything in between, including some acoustic instrumental stuff. So let me tell you, we cover a lot of ground here on this episode. And if you are a fan of all kinds of music, you are going to absolutely love this episode. And be sure to give a follow to all of the bands. I'm going to have their social media down below. I'll probably just do either Facebook or Instagram, just so it's a little easier to find the bands. I'm not going to worry about like the websites and all that, but give them a follow on either Facebook or Instagram down below in the description of this podcast, because there's some great bands, and I was fortunate enough to do some great interviews last year, do some spectacular music showcase shows or review shows. And there was some bangers last year. So I'm very excited about this. Hope you guys are too. Before I get into that though, I want to thank everybody for this point on last week's episode of the show, in which I did do a music showcase for Her Majesty the King's brand new record, A Tale of Well-Connected Characters. That was a banger, man. And something tells me if you missed that episode, you might get a little taste of my favorite track off that record here today. And be sure to let me know what some of your favorite songs were of this past year. It doesn't necessarily have to be just from local bands or bands I've had on the show, but let me know. I'm curious. There was a lot of great music last year. And heading into this year, already there's some killer stuff happening. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm hoping that this year and this decade even, looking at the decade, I debated on doing like my top 10 albums or songs of the decade. And it was it's too hard for me, man. It's just too hard. I've changed so much over the past decade in my musical taste. And you even see that on this episode, where it's kind of interesting where, I never used to really like kind of pop punky stuff and, deathcore and things of that nature. And it's funny now, like there's all these bands that through me doing the show, I've grown to really, truly love like a good pop punk song and a good deathcore, really guttural low stuff. Like I've really come to love that truly, not just like, I know these guys, so I'll support them. It's like, it really, truly has become a new love for me, and my musical palette has widened, and I'm very thankful for that. Just like I'm thankful that you're here today listening. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and we're gonna jump right into the music here. I'll ramble on aimlessly later about my sponsors and my hotheads and my all that fun stuff. The first song that I have, before that, I have one band and album that I need to give a shout out to, kind of an honorable mention, because this album and this band will not be featured on this episode, only because, and this was kind of a big debate I had, but due to the length of some of the tracks, I just felt that it was best to wait. I am going to be doing a full showcase on this band and this record. very, very soon. I don't know exactly 100% when, but you should expect that at least within, the next few weeks, whether it's, mid-February, late February, I'm not too sure, but you can expect it for sure. The name of this band is Uncle Woe, which is W-O-E, Uncle Woe. And again, I will have the description, the social media for all these bands. And this is actually, they've dropped an album called Our Unworn Limbs. And if you're a fan of kind of doomy prog stuff, you have got to check this out, because actually it's my cousin Rain, who has had quite a few projects. Some of you might remember A Binary Ward, which one of my first album reviews I ever did, and it was a lot of fun. He's a incredibly talented musician who plays everything from kind of really more heavy stuff to kind of like fun proggy rock to now with this project, it's kind of like a fun mix of both. Very doomy while still, being very accessible. Not just the fans of doom and prog and stoner rock and metal and all that stuff. But if you do like that, keep it tuned here to the Harder Show, but also you can check out the album Our Unworn Limbs right now. Again, the name of the band is Uncle Woe. I want to at least give a shout out because I am loving that record, and it came out literally December 30th. So it just barely made the cut as far as to be featured on this episode. But because again, I will be doing a full showcase of it, I wanted to just save it. And, I was thinking about teasing you guys, but nah, you got to wait for the whole thing. So you'll want to definitely tune in for that. But what I do have is, let's actually count. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 tracks in total. So I was correct. It was 13. And again, man, this ranges from like straight up kind of punk rock to some pretty really heavy kind of deathcore metalcore stuff, to kind of like proggy jazzy rock, to straight up like jazz rock, some acoustic instrumentation. And man, we cover a lot of ground on this, and I have it structured so if you're a fan basically of kind of the more pop punk kind of punk stuff, the first 3 songs are definitely you're going to enjoy. And then after that, I have 4 or 5 kind of more of the heavier side of things. We kind of ease into it a bit. The heaviest song I have on here for you guys, which is the deathcore track, is it's like the 7th song in. You'll know the second you hear it. And then we get into kind of the more kind of rock, jazzy rock stuff. So I know you guys are going to really enjoy it. And I think I have a great... It's a good listing. We have a good amount of, it's not like we just go from, this is this nice accessible acoustic rock song and then here's deathcore. It's like we have a nice build to that. And I will make a playlist of these songs, by the way, on Spotify. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, I will have that up. Just go on and search either The Harder Show, and my playlist should pop up. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Or worst case, just type in Harder Music Showcase 2019, something of that nature, and it will pop up. I'll also try and remember to link it in the description of this, but enough messing around, enough chit chat. The first track that I have here for you today, guys, is from a kick-ass band from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada, called Nothing Special, and they dropped a kick-ass EP early this year called Cheeky. And it's a very fun listen. We ended up doing an interview that unfortunately did have to be scrapped due to some audio issues. But that didn't stop me from doing a full review of the EP. And again, a lot of fun. If you guys are in the kind of the more fun side of kind of just straight up punk rock, kind of pop punk, you're going to absolutely dig it, just like you're going to dig this track. My first song on the best of 2019 here on The Harder Show. Crank it up. This is Worth My Time.
forget about it? Have I lost it? Every inch of chance I had, I blew it. Threw it in the trash. Well, she's not worth my time. Yeah, she brings me down and she's not worth my time. Yeah, she brings me down and she's not worth my time. Yeah, she brings me down and she's not worth my time. Well, she's not worth my time. She's not worth my time. Well, she's not worth my time. Yeah, she brings me down and she's not worth my time. She's not worth my time. Yeah, she brings me down and she's not worth my time.
All right, so that was Worth My Time, again by Nothing Special off the EP Cheeky that I did cover earlier this year. Be sure to give the guys a follow. They also dropped a single a little bit later on in the year, and it's awesome as well. So go check them out. Again, Nothing Special, and I will have the link in the description of this podcast. So shout out to my boys. Hopefully we'll be hearing from them soon enough. The next band and song that I have here for you guys is, well, they're nothing serious. See what I did there? Nothing special, nothing serious. And what can I say about these guys? I have been friends with these guys for a long time. Well, mainly John and Ed, who is the vocalist, bassist, and then the drummer. However, shout out to Connor as well, because he's a great dude. And I was really excited that they were dropping their first single, and then I discovered they were actually dropping 4 singles. So they didn't actually do like an EP or an album. I believe they're working on something along those lines. I think. I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to it. This could all be hearsay, rumor and innuendo, if you will. However, they dropped 4 just absolute tasty singles that you guys need to check out, one of which I actually did a live reaction video for, and that was a lot of fun because I'd never done anything like that. Some people said like, oh, I can't believe you're doing reaction stuff, this is lame. But for me, going back and looking at it, I think it's so wholesome because I was genuinely so excited because I hadn't heard that particular single yet. It is not this song, because the song I'm going to play here for you guys, which is my favorite song that they dropped this past year, out of all 4, even though it was really hard because it was either going to be this song or that video that I did, which was for the song If You Think This Is a Death Threat, You're Right. And that's a great, great song. Definitely a close second. However, the song that I've picked is something that I actually heard in the very early stages. I got to have a little bit of a exclusive acoustic showing of the song, and it really... So it just kind of means a lot to me that I got to be there in the early infancy of it. And, you know, I love the Nothing Serious dudes. So that's, I love everybody. You know, I've known these guys for a while. So it was really, really cool to see. So crank it the hell up. This is Missing Hell by Nothing Serious.
Got a fear in my hand, I can barely stand. My stomach is fucked.
Oh, yeah. That's it right there. Again, that was Missing Hell by Nothing Serious, not to be confused with Nothing Special, who we heard before. This is Nothing Serious. And big shout outs again to my boys. Be sure to check them out. Again, I do have the link to their socials in the description. And you got to check out the rest of that stuff, man. Good stuff. Just because I'm only playing one song from each of these bands does not mean that this is the only good stuff they have. This is just my personal favorite. You'll hear me say things on this episode like, oh, this was an easy one because I love this song. Or you might hear me say, oh, this was really hard because I really dug this EP or this album. And this was a hard choice. But Missing Hell, again, big fan of that track. Now, the next song I have for you here, we're kind of bringing it down a little bit. And this might be a little controversial, but that's okay. Because this song did not actually technically come out in 2019. It actually came out in 2016. However, it's my show, so I do what the hell I want. And I'm making a big exception because these guys have been huge supporters of me. And I'm very, very grateful for that. They literally share everything I do, whether it has to do with them or not. And they never miss anything. So I do seriously appreciate that. And I really, really loved this song. Definitely very different from what they had on that record. And the name of this band is Social Strife. You guys might be familiar with them. I reviewed their latest record with Friends Like These. And man, like I said, big supporters of me. And they've got a great sound. Very kind of more punk rock. Kind of more rock more than anything. So I think this is a great transition into kind of the more metalcore-y stuff that we're going to get into after this song. But we're bringing it down, man, because this is kind of a bit of a ballad, almost, if you will. But it's just a song that I really, really love. And it is entitled Aliens and Freaks. Again, the band is Social Strife. The record is called With Friends Like These. So crank it up. Let's check out Aliens and Freaks.
My head with the heat coming on in a world I
There you have it, Aliens and Freaks by Social Strife. Again, that was off the record with Friends Like These. Big shout outs to those guys. Thank you very, very much. Especially to Sean, who is the front man of the band. He's been a big, big time supporter. So thank you very, very much, my man. I do appreciate it. And I do notice, and all the people that I'm featuring today are really, they've always been big supporters of mine. The Nothing Special guys, Nothing Serious guys, of course, Social Strife, and these next guys who are actually the only non-Canadian band featured in this. Not only the only non-Canadian band, but they're actually from, literally quite a ways away over in the UK. This band is called Deadthrone. Now, Deadthrone have had a hell of a year. Okay, they had the debut of their first full-length single, and they just announced they hit over 1 million streams on that record. And let me tell you, that's pretty freaking sweet. That is absolutely awesome, and they are great dudes, and I'm so happy for them. I actually got to hear them on their first EP, which is still a badass listen to hell and back, and I love their sound. And I thought that they brought a very fresh take into a genre that can really get muddied down with, oh yeah, we're kind of metalcore. Yeah, check it out. Yeah, we have this cool riff and my guy screams and then he sings. And it's like, just after a while, it can kind of get really repetitive. So what Deadthrone bring to the table is so unique. And they really showed it off on this record called Premonitions. You guys got to check it out. I did do a full review of it. And listening to the record, it's not hard to see why they hit 1 million streams, man. It was really, really, really hard only picking one track off the record. And I went back and forth between two, which was the second single, Revival, and then this track that we're going to hear right now. It is just one of my favorite tracks of the year for sure, man. Crank it up. This is a little song that's going to get stuck in your freaking head if you haven't heard it. This is Feel. tell you right now, give it like a couple days, and that little part, which I know that was horrible, I just did that, I apologize. You're gonna be singing that, like that little part to yourself in the intro, like for like a month. I promise. It burrows in there and it just sits there. And the rest of the song is spectacular, but for some reason that little part, it's been stuck in my head literally since I heard it. It's been like almost a full year, and it's just like, help me. It won't go out. But it's great. Again, that was Feel by Deadthrone off of the record Premonitions. Be sure to check them out. Great dudes over in the UK, and they're slaying it right now, man. So go give them support. Again, I do have the socials for all these bands down below. Now, next up, we have, okay, this might be another controversial one, but again, my show, I make the rules. Technically, I did showcase this album in 2020. I actually just did it last week, but it was actually released in 2019, so it does fully count. And if you have not heard the latest episode of my show, this album is called A Tale of Well-Connected Characters by Her Majesty the King. And let me tell you, badass. Absolute freaking badass record. You got to go check it out if you're a fan of kind of the more, the best way to explain it, it's like metalcore, hardcore, punk, kind of just, it's like, it's kind of hard to, I tried like for the whole episode to think of like a cool, like, I need like a tagline for this. And it's like, no, they're just, it's Her Majesty the King. They basically have to be their own genre. It's kind of hard to like pinpoint exactly where they sit, but that's what I love that. I'm not so caught up on genres, but because so many people are, I have to kind of explain it, but I dig the hell out of it, man. And as far as picking my favorite tune, it was very easy. It's the one with the breakdown riff that smashed me in the face with a goddamn 2x4. Crank it up. This is Define the Line by Her Majesty the King off of A Tale of Well-Connected Characters. Man, every time it kicks into the breakdown, it's just like I'm standing there, I'm sitting there, minding my own business, and all of a sudden just smash right in the face. But I absolutely love it. And again, that was Define the Line by Her Majesty the King off of the record A Tale of Well-Connected Characters, which I did do a full showcase on last week. So go ahead and go check that out if you have not already heard it to hear the rest of the record, or again, description of this podcast. I will have links to their socials and everything in there. Check them out, good guys. Now, the next song I have here for you today, another heavy one here. We're into the heaviness now. Got a couple good heavy tracks here coming at you. And this is, holy crap, okay. This record is just like, it's hard to explain in the sense of how just fucking kick-ass it is. It absolutely slays. And it was very, very, very hard to pick a favorite track because there's 2 tracks in particular that I can't. I love them both equally so much. And if you are a fan of heavy music, kind of metalcore meets hardcore, you are going to absolutely love the homies in Single Wound, which is the band that we're going to hear in just a moment. Their record that they dropped last year, Isolate, was just front to back riffage and hooks and grooves, just everything you want out of a heavy record. Diverse vocals, just, oh my God, it is so freaking good. I cannot express. All the albums and everything on this are good, but if you're a fan of kind of the more heavier side of kind of like that metalcore hardcore style, you're going to love Single Wound, I promise. And this track is a great look into the mind of Single Wound and a great way to kind of show off the record because it is such a diverse song. And I mean, I have to admit the number one reason why I picked this song was because of literally one line, one word really that they threw in that I was like, it's my favorite song. I can't help it. But this and then the song Insane is like, it's tasty. Okay, you know how I joke around about let me taste the riff and all that crap? Yeah, this freaking record. Insane especially. But this song, the bridge of this song, the kind of ending of the song has one of the absolute just juiciest, thickest riffs you will ever hear. It is fantastic. But let's play a little game. If you guys can guess the line or the word specifically that they use in this song that just gets my motor running, so to speak. See, especially if you guys really know me and you really follow the show, you're gonna know the second you hear the word. And I'll give you a hint. It is in the second verse. It's not a word you hear very often, so you guys should be able to pick it out from there. But enough chit chat, crank it the fuck up. This is Burden by Single Wound off of their latest full-length album, Isolate. Let's get into it.
I know this feeling far too well. Suffocating in this hollow shell. I call my body, rotting like my heart. I decay, flowing withering away. So tell me how to tell me, instead of sleeping forever. My I'm consumed. I am consumed in the system. You and I were never the same. I've become a burden. I've lost my way. I've lost my way. Something out of tell me. Instead of sleeping forever. My mind is in a flash of days that I cannot escape. I can't escape.
And as I sleep with the serpents, I am undeserving of my lungs. I struggle and I shake under the weight of my shame. I have become a burden.
Never the same. Nothing will erase this from my mind, from my memory. I've become a burden. I've lost my way. Become a burden. I've lost my way.
Yeah. God, I love it. I love it so much. I love all these songs, but I think it's maybe it's just because it's the time of night I'm doing this, but like getting into the heavy stuff, it just like I'm really truly a metalhead at heart. I can't help it. Just I hear heavy stuff and heavy riffage, and it just literally makes my blood like just like not boil, but like it makes my blood just like move faster. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. What am I trying to say? I don't fucking know. I'm giving up. But it just gets the blood going, man, and it's just Burden is a badass tune from a badass band, Single Wound, and that record is Isolate. Go check them out again in the description of this podcast. I do have links to all the social medias of all of these bands, and let me know if you want to play the game to try and guess what word specifically or line. If you want to give me the whole line, I'll accept it. But even just saying the word that in that song that they use that I love, again, it's in the second verse. And it's a word you don't hear very often. Some of you may not even know what that word means, but I do, and I try and use it in my everyday life as much as possible. So I love it. The second I heard it, I think I literally messaged the guys, and I was like, oh my God, like this is just amazing. So big shout out again to Single Wound. But hit me up if you want to play the game, and I'll give you a prize. I'll give you a, what do we got here? How about a special customized empty can of Mountain Dew Kickstart Midnight Grape, to be specific. I'll give you this can if you message me and you're right. I'll even personalize it for you. Watch one person, they'll be like, okay, and they'll message me and I'll like mail them a fucking oh boy. Anyway, enough chit chat. We're getting right back into the music. This next song that we're going to hear is definitely the heaviest song that we got on this list. And it is from the homies in Beguiler. They dropped a brutal EP last year with tons of diversity within the kind of that deathcore sound, deathcore kind of death metal, you know, which I it's hard for me because I'm not a huge death metal, deathcore guy, but to my understanding, deathcore is kind of more like it's more like the riffage style. It's different compared to like straight up death metal where it's more like kind of power chordy stuff, whereas deathcore is kind of more like single note stuff. Regardless, Beguiler slay. And Picking a track was actually very easy off of the record that they dropped last year that I did, again, do a full review on, A Conscious Decline, which is definitely one of the most badass records of last year, especially in the deathcore death metal game. Man, it was actually very easy to pick my favorite track on this because as much as all the tracks slay, to me, nothing kicked my ass harder than the track that we're going to hear right now. Crank it up. This is Crutch by Beguiler from their latest record, A Conscious Decline. Hey you, yeah you, listening to the Harder Show right now, are you maybe in a band? Maybe you're a content creator? Maybe you're a performer of some kind who needs t-shirts or logos? Or are you maybe a business owner who's in need of some mailers or some brochures for your business? Maybe some business cards as well? Or are you someone who just needs some family photos edited and you're looking for the perfect graphic designer for you? You need to look no further than my man, Mr. Jason Reese from Jaybird Digital Arts. Jaybird Digital Arts is a local business and you will be supporting the local economy. You will be dealing directly with the boss. There's no sales reps. There's no runaround. You're dealing with the man himself. Above par work at below par rates. And he has over 10 years experience. He will work long and late to make sure your project gets finished on time and on budget. If you have been living under a rock, everybody is using Jaybird Digital Arts, from myself and the whole Podbeard Network, Chinlock Wrestling, House of Hardcore, tons of different bands, Gino's Pizza, everyone is using Jaybird Digital Arts. And he offers so many other services I don't even have time to list right now. It would take the whole podcast, but whatever you need, he has your hookup, and he will make sure that he is unique and that you will stand out from the crowd. Contact him today for a free quote by going on jaybirddigitalarts.com, or you can also check him out on Facebook and Instagram at Jaybird Digital Arts and search hashtag Jaybird Digital Arts for a look at all of his awesome and unique work. And you can also contact him by email at jaybird.digital.arts@gmail.com. And on top of all of that, if you contact him today and let him know that your boy Hotter sent you, he'll even give you a little discount skis on his already fantastic prices. I can assure you, you will find no one better and not a better human being on this earth than Jaybird Digital Arts. And always remember this, folks. His business is not successful unless your business looks great. Contact Jaybird Digital Arts for your free quote today. All right, and we are back from, definitely the heaviest song on the record, and also a little shout out ski to my boy, sponsor of the hottest show, Jaybird Digital Arts. But man, Beguiler, Crutch, just creme de la creme of deathcore. Absolutely love it. Heaviest song on this playlist. Burden is definitely really all the heavier stuff in their own ways are contenders, but I kind of feel like they're all in different categories, if that makes any sense. So that's why I really dug kind of the heavier stuff that I have here. But again, Crutch, Beguiler, album was a conscious decline. Go follow the boys in Beguiler because number one, the good dudes. We also did do an actual full interview with half of Beguiler at least. So that was a lot of fun. And again, Beguiler, actually, I've known at least one dude in Beguiler for like well over 10 years. So shouts to Matt. I also known Taylor for a long time as well. And I know all the other guys. So there you go. But anyway, we're going to get right back into the music here with a tasty song that I absolutely love. Another just one of my favorite songs of the year, and a hell of a freaking record with tons of bangers from King Catalyst. If you guys are not familiar with King Catalyst, you need to get familiar because what they have is a very unique band and a very unique sound. It's heavy, but it's kind of like, it's very accessible for all types of music. I do credit, just to be straight up about it, I credit their vocalist with a lot of that. His voice is very accessible. Like if you're a fan of like even pop, you're going to like his vocals because he's a very diverse singer. And, but they bring it, man, with the heaviness. And the album that they dropped called Momentum has some absolute bangers on it. It was actually the first ever live review that I have ever done. And it was a lot of fun aside from the fact that my internet was garbage at the time. And for some reason, whenever I tried to play the tracks, they didn't come through very well. They sounded like I was like using a cable that was broken or something. I have no idea what happened because it sounded great on my end, but I don't know if it was my internet. I'm assuming that's what it was because I've done stuff like that since with my internet I have now, and it seems to work okay. So I might need to do another live showcase. Well, that's something else for another time because we are ready to jump into some more music here. And this song in particular, it was, again, this was a very easy one for me to pick my favorite track off Momentum by King Catalyst because this song, the second I heard it, the riff, everything else about it, the groove, it just really stuck with me. And it's something that I've kind of like, I've been singing it to myself now for quite a while. So crank it up. This is House of Cards by King Catalyst off of their latest record, Momentum.
To hear
Hell yeah, that was House of Cards, again by King Catalyst from their latest offering, Momentum. Badass song. I love that riff. I'm a fan of simple riffs that just, you let them breathe. Absolutely love it. And that is that's definitely tasty as hell. So again, big shout outs to the guys in King Catalyst. Now, the next song that I have here for you guys, it is progginess. Okay, we're getting into some kind of more cool, kind of out there stuff in its own way, and this is a perfect transition into kind of more rock stuff. This band is called Noise Floor, and they were actually one of the last showcases I did of last year, and a super interesting one because they're a band that they kind of cross a lot of thresholds when it comes to their sound, and I found myself, while I was doing that review, having a really hard time kind of pinpointing, like, how can I explain their sound? And I still have a hard time doing it, but if you like prog and rock and kind of jazzy rock and prog with kind of a very real and very dark undertones, especially lyrically and vocally, you are going to love this record and this song. I do implore you guys to go check out that showcase. It was, I believe, it was 4 or 5 weeks ago, something in that ballpark. It was like episode 234, something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but go check it out because they are great guys. Blooming Crescendos, absolutely awesome record. Noise Floor are badass, just like this track, my favorite off the record. This is Isolation.
Waking up in the room, some foreign place. I don't know where I am, and I can't remember anyone or anything. I'm struggling.
All right, guys, there you have it. That was Isolation by Noise Floor off their latest offering, Blooming Crescendos. Go check them out. Great dudes, and they make badass music. And if you're a fan of kind of that more proggy style of stuff with some twists and turns, you're going to love the record. I guarantee it. Now, the next song that I have here for you guys is definitely just straight up rock. Okay? And I love it. And the Coywolves brought us just a great overall straight up rock record in 2019 called As You Were Meant To, and featuring tons of just great hooky guitar playing, straight up rock grooves and vocals. Very, very good stuff. And the main man of the band, John, I did do an interview with him, and we learned a lot about not only him, but the songs and kind of his personal journey with making this record and kind of his career up to this point. And it's funny we say journey, because the song that I picked as my favorite from that record, with lots of great stuff, it's definitely kind of the heaviest song, I think, on that record. Kind of more, very, very riff driven. Great solo. He's just a badass guitar player and vocalist. Not taking anything away from the rest of the record. It's badass, but it's just this personal song to me just really stuck with me and really spoke to me. So crank it up. This is Journey to the West by the Coywolves from their latest record, As You Were Meant To. Crank it up. Let's check it out.
Standing still, and it could never be true for me. Visions running through my mind, and I don't know what to believe. Doesn't seem to change too much when the days turn to night. Far beyond Canadian hills, the line will come to sight. Sunsets where your heroes come to play. Going on, I don't need rest. The gun keeps me in my best. I'm gonna run this whole damn town when I'm through with my time in the west. Going on, I don't need rest. The gun keeps me in my best. I'm gonna run this whole damn town when I'm through
right, guys, there you have it. That was Journey to the West by the Coywolves from their latest offering, As You Were Meant To. Badass rock and roll. You guys got to go check it out, that full record. And I did do a full review on that as well. That was about 2 months ago, I think, somewhere in that ballpark. Just scroll down a little bit, however you listen to this, and you will definitely find it. So go check that out. And shout out again to John, main man of the Coywolves, for hitting me up and just being an overall great interview as well. And making some badass music, my man. Thank you very, very much. Now, the next band we're going to feature here is kind of some fun. They're another one they're kind of tricky to kind of pinpoint. But to me, they're kind of like psychedelic, rocky, proggy, kind of in that ballpark. This band is called Zaftig. Now, you might hear that name and go, hey, wait a minute. The reason you're thinking that's because I did have them on the show for an interview. And it was an awesome interview. I got to have all three guys in, and it was just so much fun. I actually went over to their place. Great atmosphere. Just we had a ton of fun. So many laughs. And we got to learn so much about the guys. And they ended up dropping the record Flight of the Mingos. And badass record that I had full intentions of doing a review on. But then I moved. Before I knew it, the year was over. And I was like, oh shit. I kind of missed the boat on that. So I do apologize to the guys in Zaftig for that. But I wanted to feature at least one song that I really, really love off of the record Flight of the Mingos, because it's a badass record. You guys got to check it out, especially if you dig this song. This is kind of the more accessible song out of them all to me. I think it's the one that kind of stuck with me. But I really did enjoy the record, and it definitely deserves your attention. Again, the band is called Zaftig. In the description below, you will find their socials. The album is called Flight of the Mingos. Crank it up. This is Crumbs.
Now they say I've gotta live, won't you
Oh, yeah. Groovy. I love it, man. That's just some great stuff. We're ending off with some really cool, diverse music, and it's a lot of fun, man. Again, that was Crumbs by the band is called Zaftig off their latest record, Flight of the Mingos, which Mingos is a flamingo, by the way. I'm pretty sure I asked them that question actually in the interview, and they were like, bro, it's a flamingo. So I was like, oh yeah, Mingo, flamingo, makes sense. At least I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Anyway, regardless, Zaftig, badass, check them out. All hail, mighty Zaftig. The next song that I have here for you guys is definitely a big transition as we get ready to kind of cross the finish line here. This is the second last song. I think this is the perfect place for this gentleman and his work. This gentleman's name is Mark Wylie. Now, I did an interview with him earlier on last year, and I did a full-on review of his record. Now, what's cool about this is, man, it's fully instrumental. And I always said to myself, man, I don't know if I can have instrumental music on the show as like a review type thing, because it's really hard to articulate what one would feel or think of instrumental music, at least to me. And then I heard Moments, which is the record from Mark Wylie that he dropped. He actually dropped 2 last year. We'll get to that in a minute. And, man, what can I say? Moments is an emotional ride that will leave you just with such a strong feeling afterwards. And it's just badass. Mark was a great interview as well. We learned so much about him. Just an overall great guy as well, man. Like, kind of shot the shit a little bit before and after the interview. And I was just like, man, this is a cool cat. So big shouts to Mark. He did drop another record late last year as well called Fable, which is very cool, man. I missed a lot near the end of last year. I had so much going on with the move and Christmas and all that. But definitely go check it out, as well as this record, Moments. And this song, that's, man, we're fixing to get lost in this freaking track. So just kick back, relax, and forget about the world. This is Tread Lightly, my favorite track off of Moments by Mark Wylie. All right, gang, we're back. Did you think I wasn't coming back, man? That was you get lost in Mark's stuff, and I mean that in the best way. It's like you just forget for a minute that you're listening to a podcast or doing anything at all. It's just a lot of fun. And Tread Lightly, again, off the record Moments, badass song. Kind of a song that in its own way left me feeling like, okay, what's going on? Something feels like it's happening, and just really cool, man. Really dug it. And the feeling you get listening to that full EP, I guarantee you afterwards, you're gonna be hitting me up saying, dude, like I felt like rejuvenated spiritually. And maybe that's diving too much into it, but I don't know, just beautiful acoustic, not just acoustic, but also there's a lot of other stuff going on, but beautiful instrumental music gives you a really cool feeling. So again, shouts to Mark for making such a badass record. Now, okay. The last song that I have here for you guys it's an important song and an important record because all of the songs I've told you about today, I love and they're just badass. But this was the music showcase that I did for this. It was, first off, number one, it was the first actual music showcase I did, not review. And it was a little different, and I was kind of in a really interesting spot where I was kind of ready to make a change in how I did the reviews and kind of now into the showcases, which is more just me playing the stuff, not so much talking like I'm doing today, because this is a little different, obviously. And this was the perfect record for it. And it was a record that I didn't know what to expect going into it, but I can tell you that it was not at all what I expected. And this record is called Useless Hands by a band called Rival Town. If you missed my showcase of this, I strongly urge you to go back and check it out because that is a very special episode. I think it was a few things going on. I was really at a really interesting point with the show where I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was very burnt out doing that episode just because of the move and just, I was still kind of getting situated. And I was like, man, I took well over a month off. Can I really still do this? And there was so much cool, fun stuff that came from that episode. The whole taste the riff joke that I make came from that. And there's a few moments that I got straight up emotional. And just to be kind of straight about it with this record, it's really stayed with me in the sense of, I don't know what I expected. I think I see, a punk rock band, Rival Town, and some of their older stuff. That's kind of more just like pop punky punk rock, and I see a title, this record, Useless Hands. I'm like, okay, it's going to be like, I don't know what I thought. And I think I even said that to the guys and in the actual review where I said, I don't know what I thought, but it was blown out of the water. It was kind of a very emotional, well, not kind of, it was a very emotional ride. And I go into detail on the actual showcase. And then also I had the guitarist who actually wrote a lot of the lyrics for this record on the show for interview. And we go in depth about it as well as to why it was an emotional ride. And why legit this song made me like openly weep because of one in particular line. And I'm not the only one that for some reason not some reason, you know why, when you hear it, you'll understand. It has really struck a chord with so many people. And for me personally, that was the first time I'm sitting there trying to review the song, and it's actually the last song on the record. And it's the last song we're ending off here, so I think it's very fitting. It was literally the first time I got actually emotional on the show to the point where I had to stop talking. And like I literally said, like, holy shit, I'm crying. Like I'm about to cry. And it was just this feeling I had that I can't really explain. And it was the first time I was really that vulnerable on the show. And I think I'm always pretty damn transparent and everything, but that was a really uncomfortable in a good way moment for me. And then I ended up leaving it in. And there was a few people that hit me up and they were like, we can't believe you left that in. Like, that was very, like, wow. And I kind of started to explain why it was emotional for me, because it reminded me of my grandfather and he passed away. I'm not going to get into it right now. But if you really want to know, go back and check out that episode. Yeah, man, it's a very special record to me, a very special episode to me. And this song is very special to me. I still listen to it literally on the regular. All these songs I listen to on the regular. All these songs are special to me. But, this one it really struck a chord with me. And enough bullshit. We're going to get into the song now. Again, the band is called Rival Town. The album is called Useless Hands. You guys really got to go check out this record. This song is called Movement.
It's hard to go home, it's just not the same. I find myself lost in a gaze. The rooms and the halls, there's no love in these walls, but I'm trying my best to be brave. I've written you words and thrown them away. Nothing feels normal these days. I try to stay busy and keep your words with me. I know that you'd want it that way. And I still get cold, and my hands still shake. I keep making progress, live up to your name. I feel you every day. I found someone new, I wish you could meet. She's fixing my heart piece by piece. She's smart and she's clever, she makes me feel better. It's putting the life back in me. Don't worry about Dad, he'll know what to do with everything he learned from you. Be honest, be kind, replays in his mind while every day plays through. But we still get cold, and our hands still shake. We keep making progress, live up to your name. We still feel you every day. The ceiling, grinding my teeth, looked out the window, expecting you soon. It hurts like hell, but I'll be fine. I promise we'll be fine. But we still get cold, and our hands still shake. We keep making progress, live up to your name. We still feel you every day. It's hard to go home, it's just not the same. 'Cause you were the best part of me.
Whew. Man, never ceases to amaze me just how that song makes me feel. And it's a good feeling. It's just, again, I'm not going to get into what the song's about. You know, it's not a breakup song or anything, just for the record. It's very much more real than that. But if you want to learn a little bit more about that song and about the record Useless Hands, go back and check out my showcase and also my interview with Bryce, because, man, let me tell you, some real shit going on on that record, and a very powerful record, and definitely a very powerful way to end off my list here of the best songs of 2019. Every single one of these songs and bands deserve your full undivided attention because they're all badass. Again, just quickly running through the tracks, we had from Nothing Special Worth My Time off their record Cheeky, off their EP Cheeky, excuse me. We had Missing Hell by my homies Nothing Serious. We had Aliens and Freaks by Social Strife off of their record With Friends Like These, which again actually came out not last year, but I made an exception for it because I had it on the show last year and they're big supporters. We had Feel by Deadthrone off of their album Premonitions. We had Define the Line by Her Majesty the King off of their record A Tale of Well-Connected Characters. We had Burden by Social Wound off their record Isolate. We had Crutch by Beguiler off their EP A Conscious Decline. We had House of Cards by King Catalyst off of their EP Momentum. We had Isolation by Noise Floors off of their record Blooming Crescendos. We had Journey to the West by the Coywolves from their record As You Were Meant To. We had Crumbs by Zaftig off their EP Flight of the Mingos. We had Tread Lightly by Mark Wylie off his record Moments. And then last but not least, the song you just heard again was Movement by Rival Town off their great EP Useless Hands. So there you have it. My favorite songs, the best songs in my very humble, uneducated opinion of 2019. So let me know, what did you guys think of my list? Let me know your favorite song out of all of these, or if you think maybe I missed one. And now let me tell you right now, if you're someone who's listening to this and you're like, yo, why the hell wasn't I featured? Please do not take it personally. This is a very hard list to make. I don't think I forgot anybody. If I did, I will give you the most humblest of all freaking apologies next week because it was not intentional. I feel like I got everybody, but I scoured my episodes, and as long as I didn't miss something, I think we did pretty good. But hit me up because it was not intentional. And let me know what your favorite was, because I would love to hear from you guys. Hit me up anytime on the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at The Hotter Show. Again, I will make sure to link all the band's socials down below, however you're listening to this podcast. And however you are listening to it, be sure to hit that subscribe button, maybe the subscription button, leave a like if you can, or a dislike if you think I absolutely suck. But don't you dare say these songs suck, or I will literally come kick your ass. I don't even care. I'll fight you, son. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. I love you. Just because I love you doesn't mean I like you. No, I like you. You're awesome. Whoever you are, you're awesome. Audio fist bump. Yeah. That was me punching my microphone. But be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if there's a way you can give me a rating, leave a rating for your boy. I would really appreciate it. That is one of the best ways to help out the show. And if you're looking to maybe take that next step to help out the show, the really fully best way, obviously, is to listen. The more listeners I get, the better the show does weekly. Not necessarily like every single episode, but as a whole, weekly, the show has been doing very, very well over the last couple months. Even the last few months, we've had a big increase. And that's awesome. Because if I want to make this show better, the reality is, as much as I hate to say this, I do need to have some kind of a monetary gain to then put back into the podcast. I want to get new gear. I want to, do stuff with the website. There's all this stuff I want to do that I need cashola to do. And it kind of sucks because, the reality is, folks, I'm fucking broke. I'll be honest with you. I'm absolutely broke. And I don't do this show to make money. Let me be very, very clear on that. However, in order to make the show better, I need a little tiny little bit. That's just the reality of the situation. I really would love to get a new interface, but I don't have, $300 to just throw at the mall right now. As much as I love doing this show, that's just not a reality. However, due to the fine people like my boy Scotty D and my boy Will R, I don't give full names anymore, my two hotheads over at my Patreon, we are chugging towards my goal of trying to hit $30 a month of kind of income coming into the show that I can then use to pay for the show, because I do actually pay monthly fee to do this podcast, and then also put back into making the show better for you guys. And that's the goal, man. I'm here to entertain you, and that's really truly what I love to do, and that's why I do this podcast. But again, New Gear's expensive. And if I can have just a little tiny bit, $30 a month, may not sound like a lot, but let me tell you, that would actually be in its own way life-changing for me. And we're like 15, 20% way there right now. So that's cool. So that's very cool. And again, shouts to my boys Scott and Will, my two OG hotheads. They're I was gonna say they're a big reason. They are the reason that we're even anywhere near there. And you might be asking, what is Patreon? Why should I do this? Well, you not only get exclusive behind the scenes content on what's going on with the show, but you'll also get exclusive content you will not find anywhere else from your boy. Like a special podcast I do just for my Patreons, and it's entitled the Happy Commuter Podcast, and that's all I'm going to say about it. But let me just say, it's me completely unfiltered driving to or from work. And you might go, why do I want to hear that? Well, fully uncensored, raw, and I say things, talk about things I will never talk about on the podcast. So if that interests you, check it out. Patreon.com/The Harder Show. Also, I am starting to do another new kind of, not a podcast, like a video show type thing, just for the Patreon, called Harder Show Studio Sessions. And it's basically me editing the podcast and other just hilarious bullshit happening. I actually did it live last time while I was having a couple alcoholic beverages, and it's just near the end of the video. We get a little goofy. So that was a lot of fun. And that's a couple of examples of some of the content you get. But if you go on the Patreon right now and join up, we have a few different tiers that you can join. Number one, we have the $1 tier, which will get you a shout out every single week on the show. A personalized shout out every single week on the show. I usually give a little bit more, but because we've been going this is going to be like probably a 2-hour podcast, I just kept it short this week. But normally I'd go full on. If there's something you want me to, plug for you or whatever, I will do that within reason. Obviously I would do like a full ad, but I'll say, oh yeah, my boy John from, the Coywolves, check them out. They're a badass band. And they will also get you access to behind the scenes looks at things. Now, that tier will not get you any of the bonus content, because that's reserved for the people who are in the next level of hothead, which is the $5 tier, which is you will get exclusive content you will not find anywhere else from your boy. You'll get behind the scenes looks at stuff, and also you will get a discount on merch as it comes out. I am working on it. I've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. I got something in the works, but you'll get a discount on that. And I haven't decided exactly what the discount is, but let me tell you, it'll be worth it. It's going to be like at least 30, 40%, somewhere in that ballpark. So that is definitely something you should look forward to in the $5 tier. Also, we have a $10 tier, which you get all the same stuff, but the biggest difference is I'm just going to give you stuff. Done deal. I don't care. If you want a t-shirt, I'll give you a freaking t-shirt, no charge. Okay? I don't care. I'll just give it to you. $10 a month is such a substantial amount of money in the $30 a month I want to hit. You get a free t-shirt, no questions asked. So that's that tier. And the final tier I have is kind of a special one that is reserved for people who want to potentially advertise here on the Harder Show. I'm calling it just like the sponsorship spot. $20 a month, you will get either a personalized read like I do for Jay Bridges Delarts, or that I've done in the past for lots of other products like Studio headphones, or Seat Giant, Mean Beard, things of that nature. Or I also can do an actual ad. I know people, we can make that happen for your service or your product or your band or whatever it is. We will get you hooked up with a personalized ad. And what I have here on the show is I may not have tens of thousands of listeners, but I have a very loyal listener base. And if I think your service or product fits my listenership and I can help you out and hopefully get you some sales or some attention on what you're doing, we will absolutely do that, and we'll have fun with it and have a good time. And the great thing about it is it's not like you have to sign on or anything. It's, we go by month. If you do a month and you go, you know what, I'm not feeling this, all good. As a sign of good faith, I will run the ad for an extra month. Just as a sign of good faith, because you took on the $20 a month tier. So again, $1, $5, $10, $20, www.patreon.com/The Hotter Show. Check it out if you want to take that extra step in helping the show out. Holy crap, I think we're through everything here. This has been a really fun episode, but it is time to sign off here. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, especially if you listen to the end here. Like, you have no idea. Sitting through all my spiel and all my bullshit. You are the true MVP, and I give you an audio hug. There you go. That was an audio hug. Not to be confused with the audio fist bump or the audio headbutt, which I've also done before, but we're not going to do it here because we're getting a sign off here today. Thank you guys very much again for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Check out all the bands I featured today, and I'll catch you next time on The Hotter Show. Take it easy, guys.